Wing Wednesday. The sugar got him.
That was interesting.
That was scary.
It was kind of spooky.
Wee woo foolish shark heart.
Maybe I still am in Ohio. Is stream alive?
Happy Wing Wednesday to all those who celebrate.
Pretty good. Alright, I guess we just kind of go back to where we were.
Bronze fish with teeth time.
That was like it's just a really weird, like, quick dip.
Ohio is not real.
Okay. Okay. Oh, someone called it the bronze fish. Nice. Okay, I guess we'll just go learning back to the sugar learning. I'm not thinking.
This certainly looks like Ohio to me.
Yeah, I don't know. That was like weird how it like crashed for just like the briefest little second. How is it still so hot? I don't get it. Okay. I just thought like it'd be better. I know.
Pogu only 8 months till piss shark.
What did you say? Okay. I'm just gonna turn back the video again. We're just gonna act like it never happened.
The sugar was just too much peepo giggles.
Yes. So we'll see if the sugar crashes again. Diamond, thank you.
Almost full shark.
Workers now pour sucrose crystals, suspended in alcohol, into the syrup.
Hi, foolish.
This milky solution binds to the sugar present in the syrup and helps draw it out. Next, it all boils in large vacuum pans, forming sugar.
Wait, quick question. Is thermos, like a thermos thing, like, is that, like what they're actually called? Or like, is that a brand called a thermos cup? So there's no such thing as like this technically isn't a thermos. This is technically just like a bottle glass.
Hi, Foosh, nice man bun picture.
Weren't we talking about this the other day? Or like maybe like a week ago, we were talking about like brands just owning like a word or a object question or like a yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
Okay.
Sugar crystals. As the water in the syrup boils away, workers regularly check to see how the sugar is crystallizing. The goal? To produce a thick crystallized paste known as masquite. It then goes into a high-speed centrifugal machine to remove the sugar crystals from the uncrystallized syrup. Inside, The sugar spins at 1,200 revolutions per minute. This action draws the molasses to the outer shell of the machine, while the crystals remain in the inner basket.
Dude, there's so much filtering that goes on with sugar.
Sprays of water wash the crystals. Then the water is drawn out, so only the crystals remain. This centrifuge draws out moisture from the sugar, just like a washing machine on spin cycle dries your clothes.
How the fuck did we like come up with sugar? Like when there's this many steps to it, you know what I mean?
Next, a conveyor belt carries the sugar crystals out of the centrifuge. This mill produces raw sugar, which has more molasses and is unbleached, and plantation white sugar, which has less molasses and is bleached a brilliant white.
A brilliant white.
The sugar on the conveyor now goes into a large dryer. Hot air blows into this dryer to bring the sugar's humidity level down to 0.02%. That's standard for table sugar.
Oh. That looks fun in there.
The dried sugar pours out from the dryer into a bag on a scale. It's full when it weighs in at 1,000 kilos. A hoist then carries the bags to a platform at the far end of the packing facility.
5
At
months
3,000
Oh.
kilos. That is a heavy
Thank you.
load. It lowers each bag over a chute that leads to the factory's main floor. Workers carefully open each bag in turn and pour out the sugar directly into the chute.
Okay.
It feeds an automated packaging machine, which fills a series of 2-kilo plastic bags.
That was like a weird, like abrupt ending. I don't know. It's like, it shows that they don't waste any time. Keep going to burp. Keep going to burp. Keep going to burp. Keep going to go burp. And then rah. You know? You know what I'm saying? Okay. Next. Beep, 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 beep. Oh. There's a lot of houses it's made. How mountains of worm cocoons are turned into expensive silk? I didn't know. Let's Jeff, thank you for the prime. I feel like I already kind of know how candy's made. Oh man, there's a lot of ones. Okay, let me go back to here. Oh. You know, this looks very interesting. I don't know what this is exactly, but
Hello Studs, and welcome back to Studson Studio. Today I'm going to hide my mediocre painting skills under many layers of flocking while I make this mossy home from Kiki's Delivery Service. This is episode 3 in my Ghibli crafting series, so subscribe
you.
and all that, but before we fly off and start crafting without a plan, let's take a walk and appreciate the nature we'll be replicating in miniature form. I've always been in awe of how moss grows pretty much anywhere. Just give it a bit of moist pavement and it will become a beautiful earth rug. As long as we're out, let's take a cue from Kiki and get close up to the trees. There are many great crafting materials to be found in nature. For the moss, perhaps some of this plush woodland scenics blended turf. And for the climbing ivy, we thank Gaia for her woodland scenics medium green foliage. And what about for bushes? Oh wow, an old natural ice cream container filled with foam clump foliage. Cool, let's go craft.
Sticks, glue, paint, knife.
We're going to start today's craft by making the windows first, using a sheet of this cross-stitch canvas, or person plastic as some people call it. I made about this many windows to start. For the walls, I'm using dollar store foam board, then I cut out a bunch of window holes and then carefully tried to glue them on. Just, it's not good though. Just
That looks
try
difficult.
to glue it on the back so you can hide all the glue lumps. These square windows are pretty good, but let's pull out some of this special diagonal window panes for an extra exciting window. And here's all the walls. If you're curious how it's assembled and you want to make one for yourself, I've included a very confusing template that I made, which you can find in the description. Now we need some scrap cardboard for the roof. Any junk works. I prefer leftover food packaging. To get a nice clean roof ridge, use a sharp knife and just barely score in a folding line. I've chosen to glue it face down so it doesn't look like I'm sponsored by Wheat Thins. Yet. Only attempt this next move if you have a low temp hot glue gun. Otherwise a little cardboard scrap works to spread out the glue weld. Since I'm building this to be 28mm scale, I wish it was a little bit taller. Ah, perfect. We've gained some height, but at what cost? This edge needs to be cleaned up, so I'm going to build a little stone foundation using ripped up chunks of foam board. The movie version doesn't actually have a stone foundation, so please don't tell Miyazaki. To add texture, we're going to shake these around in a can with some rocks and let the flavors get to know each other.
That was impressive.
All this shaking produces quite a bit of dust from my low-grade rock, so you're going to want to wait till the dust settles before cracking into this. And now with our slightly worn down foam, we're going to Puzz 3D these pieces all the way around the house. I made a stairway out of foam, but to make it a deck, we need to throw some boards on it. These are coffee stirring sticks, which I'm bisecting to make them coffee stirring, like, smaller sticks. Coffee stirring splinter?
No,
I don't think so. Here I'm cutting out the door. Then I used this metal ring from a necklace for the handle. Coffee stirring sticks are also excellent for hiding your shame, such as the visible seam lines on the adjoining walls. The house needed beams anyway. After you get tired of cutting through wood, just switch to thinly sliced paperboard and finish up the windows that way. For some dynamic building, try positioning windows open in cool action poses. Then I chopped out some tiny bricks and glued them over the foundation on just the left side of the house. Then I used more coffee stirring sticks and
Mike a little just like mesmerized right now.
I'm going to paint it separately before gluing it on, that way I don't have to take a brush into this tiny deck space later. Speaking of other details I made off camera, here's a little pop-out bay window I made using the same ingredients. And once again, more sticks and more hot glue to create this little firewood shanty. For quick and easy roof shingles, I'm using strips of corrugated paper. But wait, what shingles am I even talking about? The roof is a complete garden.
Yeah.
This is true, but I knew in my heart there were shingles under that moss, and I had this idea that maybe the shingles would show through in an interesting way after I put the moss on. In hindsight, this isn't the case, but it was good shingle practice anyway. Since a lot of these details are going to be covered in moss, I was pretty fast and loose with making them actually look decent. I am fully relying on flocking as a crutch here, so please take a look at this poor excuse for a chimney before it's moss-laden. This foil texture is pointless. And for the final details, some watered down modeling paste to add a stucco texture to the exterior walls. Always stipple that goop. Now let's go paint.
Stipple that goop.
It wasn't actually a pain to paint this. I had a pretty good time. The pain only comes from knowing that I would be hiding everything in moss later. I don't regret it though, it was good practice, and knowing that there is a completely painted model underneath these permanent layers of moss is how I sleep soundly at night. The nice part is this afforded me a little extra leniency in being sloppy around edges. If I end up missing a spot, then I'll just hide it in moss later. I pretty much did single pass base coats on every surface, except for the walls, which I splotched in off-white and then built up layers with off-white and off-tan.
Off-white?
And I dry brushed everything using the same colors from the base coats, but they were lightened with a few squirts of off-white or not quite cream. There were a couple of detail spots that needed a little bit of metal coloration. I went with gold for the top of the chimney and the door handle, and then it was time to tie it all together with some homemade acrylic washes.
It's done.
To add moss to this little chia pet, go set it outside for 3 months and let nature handle it. I actually wanted to film this portion of the video outside, but then the rains came and I decided to stay for the rest of time.
So it begins.
If you can't find these products growing in your local woodland, they're always in season online. I've included some links in the description where you can stay at home and have fake foliage come right to your door. I've said it before, but I flocking love adding flock to craft projects.
Hell
Maybe
yeah.
It's because I live in a particularly green region of the world that is somewhat reminiscent of a Ghibli location. Or it might also be that I just don't think I'm a very good painter, and covering up mistakes with intricate green details is a good way to distract the eye from any flaws I might have. Any flaws this model might have. In my experience, old and decrepit is way easier to pull off than fresh and clean. After saving these failures for later, I'm using some of this vine foliage to cover up the base of the green we've laid down so far. All you need is a tiny nug of this fluffy green spiderweb to cover a decent amount of area. I'm painting on a layer of tacky glue, then fiddling with it until it stops sticking to my fingers. Don't let the graceful editing mislead you though. I removed all the shots where my fingers kept ripping off these beard hairs. Then we're going to spank the bag because I really like the texture and the color of the little clumps that were in this. I'm filling out some of the bald spots and adding some randomness by taking a large clump of the extra fluff that I spanked out and dabbing it all around until it looks much less uniform. It still wasn't quite where I wanted it to be in terms of a luscious full head of hair, so I'm going to add some more of this vine foliage. After this sweet summer child was fully tucked in under a green blanket, I sealed it in forever with a generous misting of watered down Mod Podge and then a final sprinkling of green flock for good luck. I hot glued down a few bushes in select areas, mostly areas where the underlying painting wasn't that great. But now it's time to fetch some firewood so Kiki's family can survive the winter.
Out.
Ah, perfect. This one stick is enough to keep this tiny family warm for months. And for the final detail, I'm painting on some flowers to the vines and bushes because it's cute. But it wouldn't be Kiki's delivery service without the witch we all know. There she is. The plan is to turn this nice waving person into a witch on a broom. Kiki wears a dress, so we'll start by shaving off her pants, and then severing her torso so that she's in a better sitting position on the broom, which is actually a toothpick. I'm going to warn you up front that the final Kiki is not going to look good. It's a combination of me running out of time, very little experience with painting plastic minis, and unfamiliarity with this new sculpting material. This is the first time I've used this 2-part epoxy green stuff to sculpt tiny details, and it was very reminiscent of working with freshly chewed gum. And there we go, it is now a vague suggestion of a subtle nod to Kiki. But you know what it's missing? That's right, a cat. To make Gigi the cat, I'm stumbling through it in the same way I made Kiki. I wasn't prepared for how eagerly the green stuff would stick to itself, but I powered through it and moved on to painting.
That does seem tough with how small that is.
I contemplated just filming this entire section in a wide shot so you couldn't see how bad it really is, but this is a cautionary tale. Anyway, what do you think?
This is terrible. I can't deliver it like this.
I would classify this mini as passing the across the room test. It looks okay from long distance, but as soon as you get close up, I wanted to mount this monster on the house, so I clipped off the dangerous end of a safety pin, painted it black, then stabbed it into the roof to make it appear as if she's flying away from home, and that means it's done. Special thanks to all the new patrons that have kept these videos going. A lovely shout out to Fool King, Gerald, Milo Keeble, MR Lewis, Megan Donnelly, Masher T, Steven, Jay Vinji, and Siphon. All the coins on Patreon are used towards the mission of helping me make more videos. Check out the link below to see some of the spicy benefits you might get. If you can't support via
Okay, maybe
Patreon,
you.
no worries. I am always
Still
thirsty
kinda-
for any
it's
likes,
still pretty
comments,
good.
and subscribes you can offer. As always, I read every comment and jot down all of your crafting suggestions in my long and growing list of potential topics. That's all for this
Would you
week.
live there?
I'll see you next time, and thanks for
No?
watching,
What?
studs.
No. Why would I live in some like super mossed out, like whatever? Like that means like the house is just gonna like crumble. There's probably like raccoons. Maybe I don't know if they're into foliage like that. Maybe raccoons wouldn't be the first problem, but it'd probably be something. So I would still be very careful. Sorry. Just needed to, you know. Okay. Oh boy. It's quiet. Ooh. Wait, no way that's real. It's been a while since I watched one of these. I can't remember if these are real or not.